You ever stand in an elevator so expensive it looks like it should come with a butler, and still feel like it's about to break? Jason didn't belong in that building. He was only there to drop off a sensor his company forgot to install during last week's retrofit. Third-party maintenance crew. No badge, no tie, just a toolbox, a burrito in his pocket, and a half-charged phone. He hit ground and leaned against the mirrored wall, praying the elevator didn't play music. Then the doors stopped mid-close. Someone stuck a hand in. A woman stepped in. Tailored suit, quiet heels. Didn't look at him, didn't need to. Her badge blinked platinum. Jason clocked it instantly. CEO level. 3 seconds later, the lights flickered. The elevator shook once, hard, then stopped, mid-floor. Dead silent. Quick question, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments. And hey, if this story makes you clench your jaw, smirk, or whisper, "No way, that's Jason Statham," hit that subscribe button. Watch till the end, because what happens next might change how you feel about being underestimated. Jason looked up at the flickering panel. The CEO looked at her watch like it could fix everything. Then, without turning, she said flatly, "This is not happening right now." Jason just muttered, "You'd be surprised what is happening today." Jason didn't know her name when she stepped into the elevator, just that she carried herself like someone who hadn't had to press a button in 10 years. The kind of person buildings worked for, not the other way around. Her suit was quiet, her expression quieter. She didn't look at Jason, didn't nod, didn't even shift her weight when the doors slid shut. Floor panel blinked. Lights flickered. Jason braced himself for the usual hum. Instead, the elevator jolted. Not a freefall, but enough to make him grab the handrail and glance up like it might explain itself. The CEO didn't move. Then the panel went dark. Full stop. Jason blinked. "Okay, that's new." The woman tapped her watch. "Nothing." She looked up, exhaled through her nose, and said, "Systems in this building aren't supposed to fail." Jason smiled faintly. "Tell that to the burrito in my pocket. It's been defrosting since floor 27. She looked at him for the first time. Just a glance. Sharp. Then silence. Jason tried the emergency button. No beep. No intercom. He pulled out his phone. One bar. No signal. "I assume yours isn't working either." She showed him her screen. Full battery. Zero connection. Jason sighed. So the $3 billion building forgot elevators still need wires. She didn't respond. Jason sat on the floor, careful to keep his boots off the marble. "Well, I'm Jason." She looked down at him like he was a symptom. "You don't need to introduce yourself." "Guess not. You probably already ran my badge through the air." She gave a small nod. "Your third-party maintenance, contractor, sensor install team." Didn't realize CEOs memorized the maintenance roster. I don't. But I remember everyone who's not supposed to be on this floor. Jason raised an eyebrow. "That's supposed to be a threat." She tilted her head. "Do you feel threatened?" "No, just hungry." He pulled the burrito from his jacket, still wrapped in foil. She stared. "What?" he said. "I was supposed to be in and out. This is contingency planning." She actually smiled. Barely. Jason unwrapped it. "You want half?" She shook her head. "I don't eat processed food." Jason shrugged. "More for me." Another silence passed. The kind that hangs between two people who'd rather be in different worlds. Then the lights flickered again. Elevator hummed for 1 second, then died. Jason stood. "You know what's funny?" he said, chewing. "This smart building, self-learning, AI-calibrated, energy-optimized, it's got no backup for a basic lift failure. I've worked on 15 buildings this year. You know which ones fail the least? The ones that still run analog backup systems." She crossed her arms. "What's your point?" Jason gestured around. "Sometimes smart gets stupid." She didn't argue. Jason studied the panel, removed the front cover, careful not to drop the screws. He checked the wire housing. The internal readouts were dead. Full system shutdown, power rerouted, but no reset signal. "Looks like someone's messing with the routing grid. Power's going somewhere, just not here." The CEO frowned. "That's not possible. This system doesn't reroute without a command." Jason looked at her. Someone issued a command. Silence, then she said, "My name's Cameron." Jason blinked. "No last name. You don't need it," he smirked. "All right, Cameron, you think anyone's coming?" She didn't answer. Jason sat again. "Cool. I'll eat the rest of this burrito and try not to take it personally." 15 minutes passed. Then 20. Jason pulled out his phone again. Still no signal. Cameron paced once, twice, checked her watch again. Jason finally asked, "So what's waiting for you upstairs?" "A boardroom full of people pretending to know what you're thinking." She looked over. "Actually, a hearing." Jason raised an eyebrow. "Legal, internal review. They think I sold out part of the building to offshore investors." "Did you?" She didn't answer. Jason whistled. "Spicy." Another silence. Then she sat, cross-legged, carefully. Jason watched her. "You always this calm when they accuse you of corporate treason." She met his eyes. "You always this chatty when you're trapped in a box with someone who could fire you." Jason grinned. "Lady, I've been fired so many times, I carry a backup name tag." She laughed, actually laughed. Then the light blinked once more. Jason stood again. "Hold on." He opened the lower panel this time. Behind the wire bundle, something was off. A new splice. Cable rerouted, not frayed, not corroded, modified. Someone tampered with this. Cameron stood. Tampered how? Someone changed the routing manually. From the inside, this wasn't a malfunction. Someone trapped us. Cameron's eyes narrowed. Jason added, "You sure you don't want half this burrito?" Cameron didn't move for a full 10 seconds. Her eyes fixed on the cable housing Jason had exposed, like she was trying to decode every inch of it with her mind. "Someone trapped us." She repeated. Jason nodded. "Either someone bypassed the core system, or your building's AI got clever enough to start picking favorites." She knelt beside him, heels clicking once on the floor, and studied the wires. "Who would do that?" Jason shrugged. "You're the one facing a hearing. Who benefits if you're not in the room?" She glanced at him, suddenly still. "You think this is intentional sabotage?" He gestured toward the panel. "I think someone ran a redirection node that shouldn't be here, and I don't think it was an accident." Cameron stood up slowly, brushed non-existent dust from her blazer. Jason watched her reset, the cold professionalism settling back like armor. "We need to get out of here," she said. Jason nodded. "We do, but we need to do it without frying both of us." He ran his fingers over the back circuit housing, tracing heat lines with one knuckle. "You're a janitor," she said suddenly. Jason raised an eyebrow. "Was a janitor?" She stared. "So how do you know how to rewire an elevator?" He didn't answer right away. "Then, because I wasn't always mopping floors." She waited. Jason said nothing else. Cameron exhaled. "Okay." He pried a flathead screwdriver from his back pocket and began rerouting the main diagnostic input. "This elevator's controlled by the building's central system." "Yeah," Cameron nodded. "Yes, the AI manages everything from temperature to security badge access." Jason tapped two wires together gently. "Sparks." "Well, the AI doesn't like me right now, or you." He pointed to the corner camera. "That's not just a feed, it's a sensor relay, and it's not blinking." "Meaning?" "Meaning we're invisible." Cameron tilted her head. "They shut the elevator off and killed the signal." Jason stood. "Or the system doesn't want anyone to know we're here." Cameron didn't like that. She turned to the panel and pressed every floor button in sequence. Nothing. Jason moved to the control phone and ripped it open, exposing a secondary circuit board beneath. His fingers moved faster now, muscle memory kicking in. "You ever think about how trust works?" he asked. Cameron blinked. "Excuse me." "In systems. In people. Everyone assumes it's just about good faith, but it's really about response time." Cameron crossed her arms. "You're saying trust is about how fast someone shows up when you're stuck." She looked at him differently then, not softer, just curious. He twisted the copper leads. The lights blinked once, faint hum. Jason smiled. "Got something." The elevator groaned. Then a voice crackled to life through the broken intercom. "Mr. Shaw." Jason froze. The voice wasn't building staff. Cameron's eyes locked on him. "They know your name." Jason didn't respond. Mister? Sure, the voice repeated. We know what you're doing. Please stop. Jason ripped the intercom's mic lead from its bass silence. Cameron's expression changed. You want to tell me what that was? Jason sat down hard. I think this just stopped being about you. She frowned. What does that mean? Jason rubbed his face. I used to work in systems security, industrial AI. Before Leo was born, I was contracted by a firm that did sensor grid protections for high-clearance buildings. I flagged a flaw in a predictive model, something that could have let external actors reroute emergency protocols without detection. Cameron didn't blink. Jason continued. They buried it, cut me loose. The flaw's still in use. She exhaled slowly. And this building? Built by the same contractor. She sat down across from him, suddenly less CEO, more human. So you're saying we're not just stuck, we're erased? Jason nodded. Cameron processed in silence, then said, we still have one thing they didn't count on. Jason raised an eyebrow. She pointed to him. You, he smirked. Flattery in an elevator, careful, she smiled. It's not flattery, it's leverage. Jason rewired the override manually. You still have that access badge. She slid it from her lapel. Jason took it. If I reroute this into a local loop and force the system to verify one executive clearance protocol, it might reboot the elevator's passive link. It won't move us, but it'll tell the building we exist. Will it trigger an alarm? I'm counting on it. He popped open the side panel and slipped the badge into a diagnostic slot never meant for anything but firmware updates. For a second, nothing happened. Then beep, status. External credential flagged, security notified. Jason grinned. There it is. Cameron straightened. Now we wait. No, now we prepare. Because if they didn't want us found, this just sent up a flare. She leaned back. So what do they do now? Jason didn't hesitate. They come looking, and not with cupcakes. They came fast. Less than 3 minutes after Jason forced the badge override, the lights in the elevator flickered, once again too clean to be a malfunction. Somewhere deep in the walls, something buzzed, not a motor, not movement. A surveillance handshake. A silent nod from a system that had been pretending not to notice them. Then, a voice, this time female, calm, too calm. Please remain where you are. Help is on the way. Jason looked at Cameron. She shook her head. That's not building operations. Jason nodded. It's the AI. Or whoever's driving it. Do not attempt to tamper with the panel, the voice continued. Safety protocols are in place. Jason leaned toward the speaker. What protocols involve isolating an executive and a maintenance contractor for over an hour without emergency dispatch? Silence. Then, tampering has been logged. Security dispatched. Cameron exhaled. They're sending someone to shut us up. Jason peeled the badge from the diagnostic port, which means we don't have much time. He turned to the access panel again and got to work. Cameron crouched beside him. You sure you can get the doors open from inside? I can get them unlatched. Whether or not we can wedge them depends on how old school this model is. He found the manual release hatch with a hooked finger, then grabbed the wrench from his belt. Give me a hand. Cameron took one side. They counted to 3, then pulled. The doors groaned open an inch, enough to see metal wall, concrete, and a hint of level 23. Jason looked up, then down. We're stuck between floors. Cameron reached through the gap, felt around. We can climb out, Jason nodded, if we move fast. He boosted her up. She was stronger than she looked, climbed with practiced balance, heels already off. She slid through the top and disappeared into the hallway above. Clear, she called. Jason moved next. Grip, pull, push. He got one leg through, then froze. A sound behind him. The elevator groaned again. Not mechanical, not motion. Jason glanced down. Panel lights had turned red, not green, not blue, red. Cameron reached for him. Jason? He pushed himself through and rolled onto the floor as the elevator sealed beneath him. Doors clamped shut like a mouth. He lay still, breathing hard, then sat up. Cameron helped him to his feet. They tried to trap you again. Jason nodded. That override we triggered, it wasn't a rescue call, it was bait. She helped him to his feet. So what now? Jason checked the hallway. Empty, clean, too clean. This floor doesn't exist on the guest access map, right? Cameron nodded. Private executive floor, no cameras, no guests. Then we disappear. They moved fast. Jason navigated by memory, 2 lefts, 1 right, utility stairwell behind the fire panel. They hit the stairs and started down. 3 flights. At floor 20 they heard it. Footsteps, not hurried, not casual, just close. Jason pulled Cameron into a maintenance closet and shut the door. They stood in darkness, breathing. A voice past the door, male. Calm, check the elevator log. Someone rerouted the feed. Another voice. Sure, still not on internal location ping. They cut the trace. Jason looked at Cameron. She whispered. They're tracking you, he whispered back. I think they were before this even started. She didn't ask why. Jason pulled out his phone. Still no signal. But the diagnostic tool still worked. He plugged it into the wall console, a hidden port behind the fuse box. Screen lit up. Access denied. He smiled faintly. Bad news, Jason nodded. They locked me out. Cameron asked, can they lock you out if you're just a contractor? Jason looked at her. They can when they think you're not just a contractor. She narrowed her eyes. Jason, who are you? He hesitated. Then, I used to ghostwrite back-end security code for one of the AI architecture firms that built this building's smart infrastructure. My name's not on any payroll, but my fingerprint is in the foundation. Cameron blinked. I flagged a security breach 5 years ago, a vulnerability that let third parties manipulate internal building logic. You know how they thanked me? She said nothing. They buried it. Sold the code anyway. Someone's been profiting off the flaw ever since. Cameron exhaled. And now it's being used to erase you. Jason nodded. Which means we stop running, he said. Cameron straightened. Then we go to the control center. Jason smirked. You always been this brave. Cameron returned the smirk. You always been this secretive. They moved again. 2 floors down, level 18. Private access only. Jason bypassed the lock with a tool he wasn't supposed to have. Door clicked. Inside, rows of servers. Air chilled to keep machines cool. A single desk with a touchscreen console still active. Cameron sat. Jason wired in. The system pushed back firewalls, predictive loops, AI logic trying to guess his keystrokes. He typed faster. Cameron kept watch by the door. Jason finally found it. Manual override trace. User. Unregistered. Source. Internal. Elevator lockdown/security redirect priority. Silent protocol. Cameron read over his shoulder. Silent protocol. Jason nodded. Corporate speak for blacklisting without paperwork. He scrolled down. One more file. Observation tag. Sure redacted. Cameron froze. You're on an internal watch list. Jason leaned back. I think I always was. Behind them, something clicked. Footsteps again. Jason yanked the cable. They ran out the back exit. Through a hall Jason remembered from blueprints, not cleaning shifts. They hit the lobby from behind, not the public side, the freight lift access. No cameras, no guards. Jason looked at her. We're not safe here. Cameron said, where are we safe? Jason pulled a key from his pocket. Where they don't have a network. They disappeared through a door marked storage only, and the building went back to pretending it never held them. The safe house wasn't fancy. A converted storage unit with no signal, no sensors, and exactly one working light bulb. Jason had built it during the years he did off-grid security audits, part of a freelance job that paid in cash and paranoia. The moment they stepped inside, the static in the air lifted. No cameras, no passive mics, just silence. Cameron shut the door behind them. This is where you go when things get ugly, Jason nodded. Built for ugly. She looked around, shelves with tools, 2 chairs, a steel table, water jugs, backup batteries. Every detail said preparation, not panic. He handed her a power bar and a bottle of water. Sit, you're still shaking. She didn't argue. Jason connected his diagnostic drive to a private rig, one he'd never brought online. It booted with no welcome screen, no icons, just a terminal. Cameron watched him work. They'll know you're off the grid now. I'm counting on it. Jason pulled up the file they'd yanked from the building's control system. Observation tag, shore-redacted, and decrypted what he could, more than he expected unlocked, not just surveillance, patterns, times, childcare notes, Leo's school location, pickup times. Jason stopped typing. Cameron saw his face shift. What is it? They weren't watching me because I knew something, he said. They were watching me because they expected me to do something. Like what? Jason stared at the screen. Expose them. Cameron leaned forward. Who's them? Jason tapped the terminal once. The name floated up in plain text. Tangent Infrastructure Corp. Subdivision. Obsidian AI. Cameron inhaled hard. They build embedded learning systems. They were banned from 3 federal contracts last year. Jason nodded. And still building back-end logic for smart buildings across 4 continents, including yours. Cameron stood. So this was never about you being in the elevator with me. Jason turned to her. It was about keeping me out of it. They knew the moment you accessed the elevator override that you'd find them. Jason didn't answer. He just started typing again, copying files, locking encryption layers, building a deadman switch. Cameron circled the room. What happens if we send this to the wrong person? Jason smiled without looking up. We won't, because I know who trained the AI to lie. Cameron tilted her head. You trained part of it, didn't you? Jason finally met her eyes. I trained it not to lie. They taught it to lie after I left. He finished uploading. 1 flash drive, 1 backup. He handed the drive to Cameron. If I go down, you run this. She hesitated. Where? There's a man named Dean in Colorado. Used to be NSA, lives off-grid. If you can't find him, you find a journalist named Arla Reyes, freelance. She's been trying to expose Obsidian for 3 years. Cameron took the drive. And you, Jason pulled open a drawer and pulled out a battered sat phone. I'm going back to the building. She grabbed his arm. Jason, if they know I'm still breathing, they'll keep hunting. If they think I'm there, they'll focus everything on that location. Cameron looked at him. You're bait. I'm a dad, he said. And this ends tonight. She said nothing, just hugged him, tight. Jason left through the alley exit. He took side streets. Moved like someone used to not being seen. The city hummed around him, unaware that the building glowing in its skyline was hiding a secret worth more than the elevators, the glass, the name on the top floor. He entered through a delivery dock at 3:14 a.m. Nobody stopped him. Not because they didn't see him, but because they didn't know he wasn't supposed to be there. Inside the service corridor, he wired back into a low-level panel and typed 1 line of code. Echo. It pinged the system. An intentional noise. An alert. He stepped back and waited. 5 minutes. 10. Then the door opened. 2 men, black suits, no logos, earpieces. Jason raised his hands. We both know how this goes. One of them stepped forward. You're not supposed to be here. Jason nodded. Tell Obsidian they should have finished the job the first time. He didn't resist when they restrained him. Didn't speak as they led him to a black van. And he smiled when he saw the red light blinking in the corner of the cargo bay. Recording. Across the city, Cameron handed the flash drive to a woman in a worn blazer at a small breakfast diner. Arla Reyes, freelance, hungry, and now holding proof that the backbone of smart infrastructure was built on silence and threat. She looked up at Cameron. If this is real, it is, Cameron said. And where's the source? Cameron took a breath. Then said quietly, he walked back into the trap so we could open the door.